Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Description of Kingdom of God, text number 45, because we didn't finish the purport yesterday. So we'll continue from wherever we left off. So Prabhupada further writes, it was going on about the meditation on the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada says, 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna recommended yoga practice to Arjuna. But Arjuna frankly expressed his inability to follow the stringent rules and regulations of the yoga system. One should be very practical in every field of activities and should not waste his valuable time in practicing useless gymnastic feats in the name of yoga. Real yoga is to search out the four-handed supersoul within one's heart and see him perpetually in meditation. That is called samadhi. Such continued meditation is called samadhi. And the object of this meditation is a four-handed Narayan with bodily decorations as described in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. If, however, one wants to meditate on something void or impersonal, it will take very long time before he achieves success in yoga practice. We cannot concentrate our mind on something void or impersonal. Real yoga is to fix the mind on the form of the Lord, the four-handed Narayan, who's sitting in everyone's heart. So that is a real yoga system, not meditating on something void or impersonal or light or whatever people think of. And like Prabhupada writing, this continued meditation is called samadhi. So for Srila Prabhupada, we disciples created samadhi in Vrindavan because that is where he left his body. And then a Pushpa Samadhi was created in Mayapur. So samadhi for sannyasis like Srila Prabhupada, when he left his body, you can see in the video also, it's there in YouTube. The tradition is, the practice is to lower the body, and then dig a pit over there, and then they lower the body in there. And recently you must have seen of that Swamiji Vishweshwar Tirtha from Udupi Mutt. He had recently left his body and they prepared the same samadhi for him. So they lowered the body in that, and they poured salt around the body in the pit, and then they covered the pit with cover the pit with soil. So the point is, for spiritual personalities like Srila Prabhupada or other personalities, they don't die, because in this body also it's a spiritual body, so they are always meditating on the Supreme. So somebody might say Prabhupada was preaching around, he was moving around. Where was he meditating? His movement was his meditation, because he was moving for Krishna, he was walking for Krishna, he was talking for Krishna, he was doing everything for Krishna. He is breathing basically for Krishna's service. So that is samadhi. Samadhi is not we have to sit down at some place and think and meditate, try to meditate. Recently, I read a very nice statement. It's a philosopher, and he says, I would rather be in mountains thinking of church than in the church thinking of mountains. Of course, being in the church, is nothing wrong with that. But the point he was making is, where is our meditation? Where is our consciousness? So Prabhupada's consciousness was like that. 24/7, he was just thinking of how to serve Krishna and how to serve his devotees, how to take care of his devotees. That's all. So that is perfect meditation. And that's why when Prabhupada left his body was not cremated like our bodies will be cremated, because we have attachment with our body. Our body is completely material, but Prabhupada's body was completely spiritual, so he was not cremated. And the flower garlands were offered at the time when he left his body. So some flowers from that flower garland, they were kept, because they are also considered purified. And the Pushpa Samadhi for Prabhupada was created in Mayapur. And wonderful Samadhi is there. So those flowers which are offered to Prabhupada, so it's considered they've got the same potency as Prabhupada. So we can pray to those flowers also. They are in the Samadhi inside, in the dirt. But that, like in Vrindavan, he is considered, he's in Samadhi, he's in meditation, he's thinking of how to serve Krishna, or he's thinking of the pastimes of Krishna. And when we go to the Samadhi of Prabhupada, we should pray to him. We should sit there and chant for a while, and we should pray to him that Prabhupada, please, somehow, please engage me in the service of Krishna and Radharani. Or please engage me in your service, because we know he is in service of Radha and Krishna. So if we serve Prabhupada, that's even better service, because Krishna says that any person who says he's my devotee is not actually my devotee. One who says he's my devotee's devotee, he is actually my devotee. So that is the advantage of having an acharya like Prabhupada in our lives. So we get actually mercy of Prabhupada and mercy of Krishna, Radharani, mercy of Guru Parampara as well. And then we can make faster progress. So that is real Samadhi. In fact, to tell you an incident, once Srila Prabhupada was in Mumbai, and disciples had created a huge pandal program for him. So in that pandal program, Prabhupada was talking about raising funds for Radha Ras Bihari Temple in Juhu. So one person from the audience, he got up and he said, Swamiji, since you came, you've been talking about this funds collection. I came here to listen to some katha, Krishna katha. I thought you were a sannyasi, you would be doing some Krishna katha. So how come you're not speaking about Krishna? Prabhupada called him on the stage, and Prabhupada asked him to sit behind Prabhupada and just bend down and put his ear at the back of Prabhupada. Like sit behind, turn towards Prabhupada, and bend down with his ear touching the back of Prabhupada. And the person obliged, and he did that. And Prabhupada continued with his lecture on the funds. After a while, Prabhupada asked that person, what did you hear? He said, I just heard Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's all I heard. I didn't hear anything else. So that is Srila Prabhupada. Even though he was talking about the funds collection for the temple, but in his heart, it was all Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In the heart, it was all chanting of the holy names. And the person only heard that. So that is real Samadhi. So we could be anywhere in the world. We could be, of course, this is a little bit stretched, but a person could be in hell also. But if he's a devotee, like we'll read about this, Shivji tells Chitraketu Maharaj, tells Parvati about Chitraketu Maharaj that for a devotee, it doesn't matter whether it's in hell, is on earth, or in the higher planets. It doesn't matter, because they're always thinking of serving Krishna. In fact, in hell, They would be thinking more about serving Krishna or thinking more about Krishna, that Krishna, please protect me. It's so difficult over here compared to if he would be in heaven, because in heaven he would be in such a comfortable situation, opulent situation. He might forget Krishna, but in hell he's never going to forget Krishna. So no matter wherever he is, a devotee never forgets Krishna. He's always thinking of serving Krishna. Just like Srila Prabhupada did when he came to the West in 1966. You read about him in Prabhupada Lilamrita, how he was struggling and the places he was living at, in Bowery and with drug addicts. That was Srila Prabhupada, living with them. But he always said, I don't think I'm in New York, I'm in Vrindavan. Because his consciousness was always in Vrindavan. So that kind of consciousness we have to prepare, we have to make. Even though we are in Delhi, Delhi could be, sometimes there could be so much of pollution, sometimes there could be so much of cold, and then it will be too much heat later on, or the rains, or the protests for CAA or CAB or NRC or whatever protest. We can take shelter of Krishna no matter where we are. We can, even if we don't know any prayers, we can always chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And just pray to Krishna. Please protect me. Protect me means, please protect my consciousness. Let my consciousness be always engaged in your service, in your name, in your form, in your pastimes. That's all I want to do. And Krishna listens to all of us. And even, I always say, like, even if Krishna doesn't listen, you pray to Prabhupada and Prabhupada will definitely listen to us. And then Prabhupada's recommendation, Krishna cannot say no. If Prabhupada recommends us. So that is a real meditation that we should be practicing. By meditation, one can understand that God is seated within one's heart. Even if one does not know it, God is seated within the heart of everyone. Not only is he seated in the heart of the human being, but it's also within the hearts of cats and dogs. Bhagavad Gita certifies this fact by the declaration of the God, of the Lord, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam. The Ishvara, the supreme controller of the world, is seated in the heart of everyone. Not only is he in everyone's heart, he is also present within the atom. No place is vacant or devoid of the presence of the Lord. That is a statement of Ishopanishad. God is present everywhere, and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. The feature of the Lord by which he is present everywhere is called Paramatma. And Atma means the individual soul. Paramatma means the individual super soul. Both Atma and Paramatma are individual persons. The difference between Atma and Paramatma is that the Atma or soul is present only in a particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present everywhere. In this connection, the example of sun is very nice. An individual person may be situated in one place, but the sun, even though a similar individual entity, is present on the head of every individual person. In Bhagavad Gita, this is explained, therefore, even though the qualities of entities, including the Lord, are equal, the super soul is different from the individual soul by quantitative power of expansion. The Lord of the super soul can expand himself into millions of different forms, whereas the individual soul cannot. So Atma and Paramatma are different. Both are individual, both are eternal, but both are different. And there are qualitative differences. The super soul being seated in everyone's heart can witness everyone's activities, past, present, and future. In the Upanishads, the super soul is described as being seated within the individual soul, as friend and witness. As a friend, the Lord is always anxious to get back his friend, the individual soul, and bring him back home, back to Godhead. As a witness, he is a bestower of all benedictions. He endows each individual with the result of his actions. Super soul gives the individual soul all facilities to achieve whatever it desires to enjoy in this material world. Suffering is a reaction to the living entity's propensity to try to lord it over material world. But the Lord instructs his friend, the individual soul, who is also his son, to give up all other engagements and simply surrender unto him for perpetual bliss and eternal life full of knowledge. This is the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita. This is the last word of Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in the perfection of yoga. So the super soul as Paramatma, he is there to help us. Every second, every life, he is there with us. But we don't listen to him. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that a person who is always absorbed in Krishna consciousness is the topmost yogi. What is Krishna consciousness? As the individual soul is present by his consciousness throughout the entire body, so the super soul or Paramatma is present throughout the whole creation by super consciousness. This super consciousness energy is imitated by the individual soul who has limited consciousness. I can understand what is going on within my limited body, but I cannot feel what is going on in another's body. I am present throughout my body by my consciousness, but my consciousness is not present in another's body. The super soul of Paramatma, however, being present everywhere and within everyone, is also conscious of everyone's existence. The theory that the soul and the super soul are one is not acceptable because it is not confirmed by authoritative Vedic literatures. Oh, Prabhupada goes through huge philosophy, making sure we understand we are not Paramatma and we are not Krishna. From the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, we learn very clearly that Arjuna in the beginning did not want to fight with his brothers and relatives. But after understanding Bhagavad Gita, he dovetailed his consciousness with the super consciousness of Krishna. He was then in Krishna consciousness. So this is easy. To see Krishna everywhere, to see Krishna's hand everywhere, to see Krishna's control everywhere, to see everything in relationship with Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. A person in full Krishna consciousness acts by the dictation of Krishna. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, dictation is received through the transparent medium of the spiritual master. When one is sufficiently trained and acts in submissive faith and love for Krishna under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, the dovetailing process becomes more firm and accurate. This stage of devotional service by the devotee in Krishna consciousness is the most perfect stage of the yoga system. At this stage, Krishna or the super soul dictates from within, while from without the devotee is held by the spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna. From within, he helps a devotee as Chaitya, for he is situated within the heart of everyone. Understanding that God is seated within everyone's heart is not, however, sufficient. One has to be acquainted with God from both within and without, and one must take dictation from within and without to act in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest perfectional stage of human form of life. It means we have to make progress in Krishna consciousness, and then the spiritual master is there to help us from outside, and super soul is there to help us from within us inside. Again, long purport. I'll just go to the last two paragraphs. Those who have taken to this most sublime Bhakti Yoga system, who practice devotional service and transcendental love of Krishna, can testify to its happy and easy execution. The four sages, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar, also became attracted by the features of the Lord and the transcendental aroma of the dust of his lotus feet. Yoga necessitates controlling the senses, and Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is a process of purifying the senses. When the senses are purified, they are automatically controlled. So Bhakti Yoga is a process of purifying the senses. So purification of senses means no more senses running here and there. That I want to see this, I want to smell this, and I want to eat this, I want to hear that. Everything related with Krishna. Of course, the sense objects will be there, sense engagements will be there, but they'll be pure. Just like in Vaikuntha Loka, we studied how everybody is trying to serve the Lord. They want to see the Lord. They want to hear and look. And earlier it was said how all the birds, even they keep quiet when they hear the bees humming, because everybody is trying to glorify Krishna in their own way. So when we are purified, when we are at that level of consciousness, we will be instead of putting anybody down, we would be instead glorifying everybody. We would be appreciating everybody's contribution towards service of Krishna, towards their service to Krishna. So the hearing doesn't go away; its hearing becomes perfect. We read about that post on the flute. How Krishna is just playing the flute, and the cows are hearing their names, gopis are hearing their names, and they all are cooperating with each other to reach Krishna, hearing the flute of Krishna. So that is a perfection of hearing. That is purified hearing. Right now, our tendency is to hear some juicy gossip, but that doesn't help us actually. Even on the path of bhakti, among the devotees or practicing devotees, we should not engage ourselves in listening to some grammikatha, some gossip, some juicy gossip about some other devotee. What did he do? Or what did she do? And how he fell down? Because this is what gives us taste, so-called taste, because this is what we are engaged in the material world. Material world is all about enviousness, and enviousness leads to these kind of activities which don't help us in making advancement. Tongue would like to talk and tongue would like to taste. The purification is to talk about Krishna and taste Krishna Prashantam. Now we can see ourselves throughout our day how many activities we did that were pure and how many were impure. So the percentage of pure activities is that what we have to increase. That's all. Quantity wise and quality wise, both. We just have to increase it. And then the senses will be purified. One cannot stop the activities of senses by artificial means, but if one purifies the senses by engaging in the service of the Lord, the senses not only can be controlled from rubbish engagement, but can be engaged in the Lord's transcendental service, as aspired to by the four sages, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar. Krishna consciousness is not therefore a manufactured concoction of the speculative mind. It is a process enjoined in Bhagavad Gita. So we have to engage everything in service of Krishna. So today we just covered one purport only. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvatna. Prabhuji, I have a question. In fact, it's a very naive question, though. A little confused I am, that's why I'm asking you. Prabhuji, we discussed about expansion of Lord Krishna into Vishnu avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhadaksha, Vishnu, Shivadaksha, Vishnu, and then the Paramatma. As Paramatma, he enters into our heart. So this Narayan that we are talking of is in a palace, and the Vishnus are in the ocean. So which one is this one, Prabhuji? With Narayan, I mean, which avatar would be this one, or how do we relate to if we have to kind of consider those expansions as well?
See, Krishna's first expansion is Balramji in the spiritual world. And Balramji expands himself into Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva, Chatushana. So that Chatur, from Sankarshan comes Narayan, from first Sankarshan. And this Narayan is that expansion. And that Narayan is, again, expands himself as unlimited Vishnu avatars, like Narsingadev, Varahadev, Vamandev. So they are all in this Narayan category. And from this Narayan also again comes the second Chatushpada, which is Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. And from second Sankarshan, one expansion is Mahavishnu. And then, from Mahavishnu to Garbhadaksha, to Kshiradaksha, and to Paramatma.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome.
And I was reading the Hindi purport also yesterday. Somehow it appears in English there. In fact, the translation is much better in terms of the toenails, ruby, and all those kind of precious stone. Hindi might appear little simple. I might not be getting the meaning. That's why it might appear that way. But the way it is elaborated in English,
Because Prabhupada wrote in English.
the real essence is coming out.
Yeah, Hindi was translated from Prabhupada's purport.
That is why that makes sense. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. कल से you have excited us so much कि अब तो लग रहा है कहाँ फंस गए यार. We should all be there. That's so attractive feature. I look at Lord Jagannath ji and kept on thinking throughout the day. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri.